They talk, they whisper, they judge from the shadows while you stand in the light. And you want to respond, don't you? You want to defend yourself, explain yourself, prove them wrong. That's exactly what they want. That's the trap. Machiavelli understood something most men never will. Your silence is not weakness, it's a weapon. The moment you justify yourself to lesser minds, you've already lost. Power doesn't explain, power doesn't defend, power simply is. See, here's what they don't teach you. Every word you waste on a hater is energy transferred from your kingdom to theirs. You're feeding them, validating their existence, giving them the attention their mediocre lives desperately crave. And while you're busy explaining why you're right, they're winning, because they've pulled you down into the mud with them. The lion doesn't turn around when the small dog barks. It doesn't matter if the dog is loud. It doesn't matter if a whole pack of dogs surrounds it. The lion keeps walking. Why? Because it knows something the dogs never will. Attention is currency, and silence is how you bankrupt your enemies. Today, I'm going to show you how to become so untouchable that your haters destroy themselves while you watch. Comment below right now. I am untouchable if you're ready to learn the hidden rule that separates the powerful from the powerless. Section 2. The psychology of silence. Let me tell you what happens in the mind of a hater when you go silent. First, confusion. They threw their best shot, their sharpest insult, their most calculated attack, and you didn't flinch. You didn't react. You didn't even acknowledge they exist. That breaks them, because their entire strategy depends on getting a reaction from you. They need you to engage. They need you to feel something. Without your response, they're shadowboxing in an empty room. Second, obsession. They start checking on you, watching your moves, analyzing your silence. Why isn't he responding? What does he know that I don't? Is he above this? Your silence creates a vacuum in their mind, and nature abhors a vacuum. So they fill it with paranoia, with doubt, with the gnawing suspicion that maybe, just maybe, you're operating on a level they can't reach. Third, self-destruction. This is where it gets beautiful. Without you as a target, they turn on themselves. They escalate. They look desperate. They start attacking harder, louder, more frantically, and everyone watching sees exactly what they are: small, bitter, powerless. Meanwhile, you're building, you're moving, you're ascending. Machiavelli wrote that the wise man does more with silence than the fool does with words. Dark psychology confirms this. The human mind cannot tolerate being ignored. It creates anxiety, self-doubt, a desperate need for closure. Your haters will tear themselves apart, trying to get your attention while you're 3 levels above them, focused on your empire. This isn't about being passive. This is about being strategic. This is about understanding that engagement is a gift, and some people simply don't deserve your gifts. Comment: silence is power if you're starting to see the game clearly. Section 3. Machiavelli's hidden rule. Now here's the rule. Machiavelli never explicitly wrote, but lived by every single day. Perceived indifference to criticism is the ultimate display of dominance. Read that again. When you're untouchable, when criticism bounces off you like rain off marble, you communicate something primal to everyone watching. You communicate that you exist in a different reality than your haters. They're playing checkers. You're playing chess on a board they can't even see. The Prince wasn't just a book about political power. It was a manual for psychological warfare, and the most devastating weapon in that manual isn't aggression. It's calculated absence. Think about the most powerful people you know, the ones who truly run things. Do they argue with critics on social media? Do they write paragraphs defending their choices? No. They move in silence. They let their results speak. They let their presence do the talking. Because here's the truth that cuts deep. When you defend yourself, you're admitting that the court of public opinion has jurisdiction over you. You're saying, your judgment matters to me. But the truly powerful? They don't recognize that court. They don't acknowledge its authority. A king doesn't explain himself to peasants. Not out of arrogance, but out of understanding that explanation implies equality. The moment you explain, you've placed yourself on their level. You've given them power they didn't earn. Machiavelli understood that power is perception, and the perception of someone who never defends, never explains, never justifies, untouchable, unreachable, operating by rules that don't apply to ordinary men. Your haters want you in the arena with them. Don't give them that satisfaction. Stand above the arena and watch them fight shadows. Comment, "I am the lion," if you're ready to stop playing their game and start playing yours. Section 4. The dark psychology of attention. Let's go deeper into the mechanics of why silence destroys your enemies. Every human being operates on an attention economy. We're wired for it. Validation, recognition, acknowledgement, these aren't luxuries. To the ego, they're oxygen. When someone attacks you, criticizes you, tries to tear you down, they're making an investment. They're spending their time, their energy, their mental real estate on you. And like any investment, they expect a return. That return is your reaction, your anger, your defense, your pain. When you deny them that return, something catastrophic happens in their psychology. They've invested and you've given them nothing back. That creates what psychologists call cognitive dissonance. Their brain can't reconcile the effort they put in with the void they got back. So what do? They invest more. They attack harder. They get louder, more desperate, more unhinged. And with every escalation, they reveal themselves. They show everyone watching exactly who they are. Someone so starved for your attention that they'll humiliate themselves to get it. Meanwhile, you remain still, calm, focused on what actually matters. Here's where the dark psychology becomes surgical. The more they attack and the less you respond, the more their credibility erodes. People aren't stupid. They can see desperation. They can smell it. When someone is screaming into the void and the void doesn't even echo back, observers don't think, "Wow, that person must be right." They think, "Why is this person so obsessed? What are they trying to prove?" Your silence flips the script entirely. You become the mystery, the enigma, the one who's so secure, so grounded, so genuinely unbothered that criticism slides off like water off stone. And your hater? They become the obsessed, the bitter, the small. Perception is reality in the game of power, and silence controls perception better than any words ever could. You're not ignoring them because you're afraid. You're ignoring them because acknowledging their existence would require you to care, and caring about the opinions of those beneath you is a luxury you can't afford, not when you're building an empire. Comment, "They feed on reaction," if this is clicking for you. Section 5. The strategic weaponization of your silence. But here's where most men get it wrong. They think silence means doing nothing. They think it means being passive, being weak, rolling over and taking it. That's not what I'm teaching you. Strategic silence isn't absence. It's presence without engagement. It's moving forward so powerfully that you don't have time to look back at the noise. Let me break down exactly how you weaponize your silence. First, you redirect every ounce of energy you would have spent defending yourself into building something they can't touch. Your business, your body, your skills, your empire. While they're typing paragraphs about you, you're in the gym. While they're screaming into their phone cameras about how you wronged them, you're closing deals. While they're obsessing over you, you're becoming the version of yourself that makes their criticism look like a joke. This is the art of war applied to daily life. You don't defeat your enemy by fighting on their battlefield. You defeat them by winning on yours. Second, you let your results do the talking. Actions scream louder than words ever could. When you stay silent, but your life keeps elevating. When you stay silent, but your success keeps growing. When you stay silent, but your influence keeps expanding. That silence becomes deafening. It communicates everything your haters fear, that you're not bothered because you're genuinely operating on a different frequency, that their words have no weight in your reality, that you've transcended the petty game they're still trapped in. Third, and this is crucial, you understand that silence creates mystique. People are fascinated by what they can't figure out. When you respond to every criticism, you're an open book, predictable, readable, boring. But when you move in silence, when nobody knows what you're thinking, what you're planning, what your next move is. You become magnetic. People lean in. They wonder. They speculate. Even your haters can't stop watching because they need to know, what is he doing? Why isn't he breaking? What does he know that I don't? Your silence becomes a psychological operation. You're living rent-free in their heads while they don't occupy a single thought in yours. That's not revenge. That's dominance. That's Machiavellian power at its purest form. You control the narrative not by speaking, but by making your life speak for itself. Comment, "My life speaks louder," if you're understanding the game now. Section 6. The Masculine Stoic Framework. Now let's anchor this in something ancient, something tested across millennia. The Stoics understood what modern men have forgotten. You don't control what others say about you. You only control how you respond. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the world at his time, wrote in his private journals that the opinion of fools should matter as much to you as the barking of dogs, not because you're better than them, but because their judgment has no bearing on your character, your mission, your truth. This is where masculine Stoicism fuses with Machiavellian strategy. The Stoic says, external events don't disturb you, only your judgment about them does. The Machiavellian says, never let your enemies know what disturbs you, or they'll use it against you forever. Combine these philosophies, and you get something unbreakable. You become a man who genuinely doesn't need external validation because you've built your identity on internal standards. And because you don't need it, you don't react when it's withheld or attacked. That's not suppression, that's transcendence. Here's the framework. Every morning, you define your own standards. What kind of man are you building? What principles guide your decisions? What legacy are you creating? These answers come from within, not from the crowd. Once you've defined these, criticism becomes irrelevant. Someone calls you arrogant. You check your internal standard. Are you living with integrity? Yes? Then their opinion is noise. Someone says you're failing? You check your progress. Are you moving forward? Yes? Then their words are empty. This is the difference between reactive and proactive living. Reactive men wake up and let the world tell them who they are. They need constant feedback, constant validation, constant reassurance. One criticism sends them spiraling. One hater ruins their day, their puppets, and everyone else holds the strings. Proactive men wake up knowing who they are. They've done the internal work. They've faced themselves in the mirror and built something solid. So when the world throws stones, those stones hit granite. They don't penetrate. They don't even scratch the surface. The Stoics called this the inner citadel, a fortress in your mind that nothing external can breach. Machiavelli would call it your power base, the unshakable foundation from which you operate. Build this, and silence becomes natural. You're not forcing yourself to stay quiet through gritted teeth. You're genuinely unbothered because you're anchored to something deeper than their opinions. You're playing an infinite game while they're stuck in finite battles. And here's the beautiful irony. The stronger your inner citadel becomes, the more your outer empire grows, because you're not wasting energy on defense. You're not bleeding attention on meaningless conflicts. You're focused, disciplined, moving with the cold precision of a man who knows exactly where he's going and doesn't care who doubts the journey. That's masculine power. That's stoic strength. That's the silence that builds empires while others are still arguing in the comments. Comment, "I control my reality," if you feel this settling into your bones. Section 7. The cold calculation of power. Let me show you the mathematics of power that your haters will never understand. Every second you spend responding to criticism is a second stolen from your ascent. Every moment you waste justifying yourself is a moment you're not improving yourself. Time is the only resource you can't regenerate, and your enemies know this. That's why they bait you. That's why they provoke. They can't beat you in the arena of results, so they try to drag you into the arena of endless, pointless debate. Don't fall for it. This is cold power psychology at work. The powerful understand opportunity cost. If I spend an hour arguing with someone who doesn't matter, that's an hour I didn't spend learning a new skill, building a new stream of income, strengthening a valuable relationship, or advancing my position. That's an hour gone forever, sacrificed on the altar of someone else's ego. The calculation is simple. Will engaging with this person move me closer to my goals? No? Then they don't exist in my world. This isn't cruelty. This is clarity. Machiavelli was ruthlessly practical. He didn't make decisions based on how they felt. He made them based on outcomes. Does this action strengthen my position or weaken it? Does this engagement increase my power or dilute it? Does this response make me look stronger or more desperate? Run every potential reaction through this filter, and you'll find that 99% of the time, silence is the superior strategy. But here's where it gets even colder, even more calculated. Sometimes your silence isn't just about protecting your energy, it's about letting your enemies destroy themselves completely. There's a concept in dark psychology called giving someone enough rope to hang themselves. When you stay silent, when you don't interrupt their rampage, they keep going, they keep escalating, they get more extreme, more unhinged, more revealing of their true nature. And everyone watching sees it. You don't have to defend yourself because they're making your case for you. They're showing the world exactly why you don't engage with them. Think about this strategically. If someone attacks you and you respond calmly, rationally, you might win that exchange. But you've still engaged. You've still given them a platform. You've still suggested through your actions that they're worthy of your attention. But if someone attacks you and you say nothing, and they attack again and again and again, each time getting more desperate, more vicious, more pathetic, what does the audience see? They see someone screaming at a mountain. The mountain doesn't move. The mountain doesn't care. The mountain just exists in its power while this person exhausts themselves shouting at it. That's you. You're the mountain, and mountains don't argue with the wind. This is the calculation the powerful make instinctively and the powerless never learn. Your reputation isn't built on what you say about yourself. It's built on what you do and how you carry yourself when tested. And nothing tests a man's character like criticism. The weak man crumbles or lashes out. The strong man absorbs it without flinching and keeps moving forward. People respect strength. People respect composure. People respect the man who can take a hit and not even blink. Not because he's pretending it doesn't hurt, but because he's genuinely focused on things that matter more than the opinion of someone who's already revealed themselves to be small. This is the cold calculation. Every engagement is an investment, and most people aren't worth the investment. Your time, your energy, your attention, these are premium assets. Allocate them accordingly. Spend them on building, not defending, on creating, not explaining, on ascending, not arguing. That's how you accumulate real power while others accumulate resentment. Comment, I invest in empire if you're ready to stop wasting resources on people who don't matter. Section 8. The Untouchable Mindset. Now we arrive at the core transformation. This isn't just about tactics anymore. This is about becoming a different kind of man entirely. The untouchable mindset isn't something you perform, it's something you embody. It's a fundamental shift in how you see yourself in relation to the world. Let me be brutally honest with you. Most men are slaves to external validation. They wake up and check what people said about them. They post something and refresh obsessively to see the reactions. They make decisions based on what others will think. Their entire sense of self is outsourced to the opinions of people who don't even know them. That's psychological imprisonment. You're giving strangers the keys to your emotional state. You're letting people who have never built anything judge whether you're building correctly. You're allowing the peanut gallery to direct your life's trajectory. That ends today. The untouchable mindset starts with a single, powerful realization. You are the only person whose opinion of you actually matters, not in an arrogant way, in a liberated way. You answer to your own standards, your own code, your own vision of who you're becoming. When you truly internalize this, criticism becomes information, not emotion. Someone doesn't like what you're doing? Okay. Does their perspective contain useful feedback that could make you better? Extract it. Is it just noise from someone projecting their own failures onto you? Discard it. No anger, no defense, no reaction, just cold assessment and forward movement. This is what separates the untouchable from the average. The average man's mood is determined by his last interaction. Someone praises him, he's on top of the world. Someone criticizes him, he's in the pit of despair. He's a leaf in the wind, blown in whatever direction the last gust came from. The untouchable man has an internal gyroscope. External forces can push him, but he always returns to center because his center is based on something solid. His mission, his principles, his relentless commitment to becoming more today than he was yesterday. Here's how you build this mindset practically. First, you disconnect your self-worth from outcomes you can't control. You can control your effort, your discipline, your consistency. You cannot control whether people appreciate it, whether they understand it, whether they celebrate it or try to destroy it. So you measure yourself only by what you can control. Did you show up today? Did you do the work? Did you move forward even when it was hard? Yes. Then today was a success, regardless of what anyone said about it. Second, you build evidence. You create a private record of your wins, your growth, your progress. When doubt creeps in, when the noise gets loud, you don't look outward for reassurance. You look at your evidence. You see the man you were a year ago and the man you are today, and you know with certainty that you're on the right path. Third, you surround yourself only with people who are building something real. Not yes men who agree with everything, but builders, people who understand the game. People who respect the journey because they're on their own. These are your true peers. Everyone else is just an NPC in your story, background noise while you're focused on the main quest. The untouchable mindset is freedom. It's the freedom to pursue your vision without constantly looking over your shoulder. It's the freedom to fail, learn, and try again without fear of judgment. It's the freedom to succeed wildly without needing applause. You become self-sustaining, self-validating, self-directed, and when you reach that state, your haters don't just fail to hurt you, they become completely irrelevant. They're shouting at someone who's already left the building, who's already operating in a dimension they can't access. You're untouchable, not because you've built walls, but because you've built wings. Comment, "I am self-validated," if you're claiming this mindset right now. Section 9, the final execution. So now you understand the philosophy, you understand the psychology, you understand the mindset. Now let's talk execution. How do you actually live this in the real world when the attacks come, when the pressure builds, when everything in you wants to clap back? Here's your operational framework, the exact steps you take when a hater tries to pull you into their arena. Step 1. Pause. The moment you feel that surge of anger, that impulse to defend, that need to set the record straight, you stop, you breathe, you recognize that feeling for what it is, your ego being triggered. Your ego wants to fight, but you're not your ego, you're the awareness behind it. You're the strategist who sees the bigger picture. That pause is everything. It's the difference between reaction and response, between losing control and maintaining power. In that pause, you ask yourself Machiavelli's question: does engaging strengthen my position? 99 times out of 100, the answer is no. Step 2, redirect. You take all that energy, all that fire you feel, and you channel it into something productive. You hit the gym harder, you work on your business with more intensity, you create something that matters. This is alchemy. You're transmuting their negativity into your fuel. They think they're hurting you, but they're actually powering your ascent. Every insult becomes another rep. Every criticism becomes another hour of focused work. They're literally feeding your success while thinking they're tearing you down. That's poetic justice. Step 3, document and elevate. You don't respond to them, but you do respond to life. You post your wins. You share your progress. You show the world what you're building. Not as a defense, never as a justification, but as a natural expression of your journey. Your results become the only response they'll ever get, And it's devastating, because while they're still talking about who you were, you're showing everyone who you're becoming. The contrast speaks volumes. They're frozen in time, stuck in their bitterness. You're evolving in real time. Step 4. Maintain absolute consistency. This is where most men fail. They stay silent for a week, maybe a month, but then one comment gets under their skin and they explode. They break. And that one break erases all the power they'd built through silence. You cannot afford inconsistency. The moment you engage once, you've shown them that persistence works. You've trained them to keep attacking because eventually you'll crack. But if you never crack, if you maintain that iron discipline, they eventually exhaust themselves. They give up. They move on to easier targets. You've won without ever entering the battlefield. Step 5. Build your empire so loud that their whispers become inaudible. This is the ultimate execution. You don't silence your haters by confronting them. You silence them by succeeding so massively that their voices get drowned out by your impact. When you're reaching millions, changing lives, building wealth, creating legacy, what does it matter that someone with 17 followers doesn't like you? The scale of your operation makes their criticism mathematically irrelevant. This is the long game. This is what Machiavelli understood. Power isn't about winning arguments. It's about winning reality. It's about building something so substantial, so undeniable, that opinions become irrelevant in the face of facts. Your haters can say whatever they want, but they can't say you didn't build. They can't say you didn't succeed. They can't say you didn't become exactly who you said you'd become. And that drives them insane, because deep down, they know the truth. While they were talking, you were doing. While they were hating, you were creating. While they were stuck, you were ascending. This is the final execution. Not a single word wasted on them, just relentless, unstoppable forward movement until you're so far ahead that they can't even see you anymore. That's how you silence your haters without saying a word. You become unreachable. Comment, "I build in silence," if you're ready to execute this strategy starting today. Section 10, the call to power. So here we are. You now possess knowledge that most men will never understand. You know the hidden rule. You know why silence is the most powerful weapon in your arsenal. You know how to become untouchable. But knowledge without action is just entertainment. And I didn't create this channel to entertain you. I created Machiavellian Mind to transform you. So here's what happens next. You make a choice. You either go back to defending yourself, explaining yourself, wasting your precious energy on people who don't matter, or you step into a new identity. The identity of a man who moves in silence, who builds in the shadows, who lets his results do the talking. A man who understands that power isn't loud. It's quiet. It's certain. It's inevitable. Your haters are waiting for you to break. They're watching for that moment of weakness. Don't give it to them, ever. Instead, disappear into your work. Vanish into your mission. Become so focused on building your empire that you forget they even exist. And one day, months or years from now, they'll look up and see how far you've climbed while they were still shouting at the ground. That's your revenge. Not words, not arguments, just undeniable, irreversible success. This is Machiavellian power. This is how you win the game while everyone else is still learning the rules. Comment one final time. Silence is my weapon to seal this commitment. And if this video opened your eyes, if you're ready to learn more strategies that the powerful use and the weak never discover, hit that like button right now. Subscribe to Machiavellian Mind. Turn on notifications, because every video on this channel is designed to make you sharper, stronger, more strategic. The next level is waiting. The question is, are you ready to claim it? Now go, build your empire in silence, and let them wonder how you did it.